So many things to get excited about, but yet also so many things to pay attention to. And that is why we go live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. here in Fort Collins, talking to you guys about all things Northern Colorado, really, because tonight we're going to talk about Timnath, Ladera, that development that's coming through, as well as interest rate hikes and how that's impacting the Fort Collins real estate market. Additionally, the city council work session last night talking about water impact fees. And that's something that you're going to want to hold on to your seat for when you hear some of those numbers. But otherwise, we talk to you guys about what there's going on, things to do, city council, and developments under review. So we are going to jump right in. We try to keep this between 10 to 15 minutes. So let's rock and roll. Interest rates in the real estate market are definitely having a cooling effect across the country. Fort Collins is no different. Mortgage applications are down 25%. Closed sales down roughly 20%. We did a market update about August just about a week ago. So if you haven't watched that, it's definitely worth going and watching. July's median sales price is a little bit different than what we've done up to June. Saw a huge increase for that. But ultimately, we're seeing a contracted supply and a contracted demand because interest rates went from about 2.5, 2.75% to roughly 7 to 7.5%, depending on the lender that you use. And we are seeing not just an impact on sales of homes, but also the development pipeline. Fort Collins last year saw 620 building permits comprised of single-family detached and attached dwellings drop all the way to less than 200 building permits thus far this year. So we're projected to be and that was let me confirm before I suggest that, but that was up at last year. Fort Collins building permit issued 621 new residential permits. And through June, we've only issued 121. So we're projected to be at 240 by the end of the year. So a third of the building permits have been released. So our building pipeline is definitely contracted, substantially less than what would the market would need, because even honestly, building 620 building permits a year is too little. Our supply is low, so need to really raise that up. If you look at some economic data suggesting that 10% of homes are usually home sales usually are new builds. This year, it's closer to 25 to 30%. So new construction is definitely taking the brunt of the contracted supply, where a lot of buyers are going and exploring. In fact, we've got a client that is potentially going to go under contract on a Lennar build. They have a decent product, good price point in Timnath Lakes, and they're offering 4.99% for their interest rate. So pretty attractive on that side of things. Let's see here. The Ladera development is going through with its first phase, a 40-acre parcel, and their 240-acre parcel off of that Timnath and I-25. If you watched Ladera, you saw that City Council passed the heights and the development for the top golf, essentially, but then the city put it to the ballot in June, and fence heights of 65 got shot down. So no top golf is going to go there, but La Quinta Inn, 2 million square feet of commercial space. It's going to be a massive development there on 240 acres right there on I-25 and Harmony Road. So it's going to be a really transforming project. And then you've got the Sweatsville Zoo right there to the east, Timnath Lakes on the north side of Harmony Road, just a few miles, not even a few miles, about a mile further east from there. So just explosive growth in Timnath continues. Fastest growing community in Fort Collins, second fastest growing community in Colorado last year. Man, talk about an interesting development too, because the land use code, the original land development code change that was passed last year that got repealed, and there's a new land use code going through. Part of that land development code was a expedited review process, not including a neighborhood meeting. And this is something that is interesting because the sanctuary at the Greens has been going back and forth with the neighborhoods for years, changing the scope, the parameters of the project to try to accommodate the neighbors and decrease it. Well, the city planners passed it, but then this neighborhood group coalition put together, sued the city, saying that they had no right to pass that. And a judge agreed with them, said, hey, no, you should be taking into consideration the master plan, but also this sub area plan. and you applied the law wrong. So back to the drawing board and see if we can, depending on what, it'll be really interesting to see where this goes. But that's a big part of the land use code, is that now they're discussing that affordable housing can have a fast track through the development review process, but everything else is going to go through the same basic review process, development review process, neighborhood meetings, and things of that nature. So for you neighbors, for you folks here in Fort Collins that were concerned about not having a say in developments, well, you will. And if you want to go to the extent that this group did at the sanctuary at the Greens, I mean, it's been going on for years. Good for them that they've, fought the good fight. And I feel bad for the developer as far as, man, I don't know how many millions of dollars they probably have already spent, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on that project. So something exciting that's happening in Fort Collins. And this could potentially be a game changer for the world, not alone Fort Collins, but a laser facility, $150 million laser facility between a public-private partnership between a German company and CSU. They're going to build on the northwest side of town, kind of probably near the kind of the vet area over there, probably 3 football field length building. And they're working on fusion, so clean energy. I don't know half of it, but I know that it is a game changer. 8 institutions across 7 in the United States, 1 in Canada, are working on this, and they chose CSU to do the partnership with because they've been working with them for years. The building probably won't be built for another 3 to 5 years, but fusion energy, clean energy is happening in our backyard. There's going to be some very highly paid individuals that are working there, I am sure. And this kind of, I think only like 20 or so, but this kind of can continue. Let's see here. I'll get right to that. How have you seen multifamily impact new homes? In what regard, Evan? Clarify that, like as far as rents or the sale of like townhomes, condos. Clarify for me that, and I'll get back to you. But these are kind of the jobs that we need to see increase and come to light in Fort Collins. And shoot, I mean, it could change the world. I mean, hopefully we just don't blow up Fort Collins in the meantime with the fusion and the lasers and things of that nature. But super exciting, $150 million public-private partnership happening in our backyard on the northwest side of town. So those are things that have happened in Fort Collins over the last week. Things that are happening is, let's see here, a storm drain mural project going on over the next week, ending at New Belgium. This is going to end on August 12th. Throughout Fort Collins, storm drains will have murals drawn on them, so be on the lookout for that. Let's see here, Flowbots coming in, let's see here, September 8th through the 11th at the Elizabeth Hotel. Peach Festival, it is coming up Saturday, August 19th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. For the first time, it's not going to be at the Holiday Twin Drive-In. It's going to be downtown Civic Park. And you can get in for free, but if you're going to drink, it's going to cost you a little bit of money, $10 for an alcohol wristband. And there's going to be music throughout the day, but lots of fun activities for family. It's fun for kids and adults. There'll be lots of peach cocktails, peaches, everything, all downtown. I wonder if Jack Black's going to be singing there, make an appearance. But no, it's my favorite kid's favorite music. Actually, it's probably my favorite song. Honestly, I kind of like it more than them. But regardless, the Larimer Humane Society is going to waive adoption fees for a weekend, August 11th through the 13th. And these animals are going to come with some vaccinations, microchipped, spayed and neutered, a few collars and leash for the dog, and complimentary post. They have an oversupply of dogs at the shelter, so they are doing a free adopt-a-thon this August 11th through the 13th, I believe, at the 71st Street in Loveland. So if you're looking at adopting a pet, excited about, maybe not having all those upfront fees and looking to, make a cool, positive impact in a not so fortunate dog's life, you can do that this weekend. All right. Now, kind of the bomb that's about to hit the episode for today. So last night, City Council was kind of I agree, I believe them. They were kind of sideswiped by this conversation that the impact fees for, or the water fees for an acre foot of water in Fort Collins are going to go from $60,000 to basically $180,000. Now, that doesn't mean that to build a house, it's going from $60,000 to $180,000, because to build a 3 or a 4-bedroom house on a 7,000 square foot lot, it's 0.3, 3 to 4 houses can be built with an acre foot or 1 share of water. And so it's 0.3 to build a single family house. So it's going from $20,000 to basically $60,000 for your water tap fee to be built here in Fort Collins. A lot of this is going around our growth, needing to build storage facilities, the Halligan Reservoir. Don't know anything about the Glade Reservoir, what that looks like, if that's ever going to happen, or what that cost is going to be, and that's going to be down the road. But at least at minimum, the Halligan Reservoir will be built out. Construction costs have doubled since 2019. The cost of water, it's a scarce resource. We have a growing population. We're expected to continue to grow through 2060, and we need 500 shares of water to allow for that growth to happen over the next 40 years. But wow, triple the last time we saw something go from 20,000, or we've seen increases, but not this. This is huge. And city council were kind of like, they didn't even know what to do. They just kind of like, I don't even know where to start. Like, what can we do? This is going to be passed on to developers. So there's 820 developments under review in different parts of that process. And it's a matter of, and these fees could go into place January 1st, 2024. So it could absolutely stop projects in their track, if depending on how city decides to say, okay, if your project is this far along, you're on the old fee system. If your project is this far along, you're on the new fee system. I mean, talk about a dramatic change to your financials and your pro formas if you're a developer. And it definitely is going to be interesting. So right now, City of Fort Collins owns 30,160 acre feet of water, worth valued at about $5.1 billion. We're expecting to expand that portfolio. We need to store the water, because like this year, I mean, it's amazing to see all the water that we got and everything like that, but it just went on down the river because we have nowhere to store it. So this year we could have probably filled up Forestry Reservoir 5 times over. I have no idea. I mean, I'm just saying based off of how much freaking rain we got here. But that being said, the cost to build a single family house, the median price is $670,000 here roughly in Fort Collins. Actually, as of July, it was like $690,000. But currently it costs $21,000 for the water portion of that project, and it's going to go up to about $60,000 for that, about $55,000 for that same house. So we're talking about affordability. We're talking about developments, shortage of homes. Home builders have fewer permits that are coming out. So, man, there's just lots of pressures in the Fort Collins real estate market in all different ways. Land use code change could absolutely open up some opportunities for development of ADUs, more dense areas, redevelopment, but the water fees are going to have impacts on that, decisions. So, man, I think City of Fort Collins Council tries their best. And I'm like, those are difficult decisions to be made, because if they don't pass them on to the developers, they pass them on to the consumers, because ultimately these costs need to be paid. And the idea is to pass them on to the developers because, hey, they're building these projects. They're going to benefit on the backside from the profit. So why should the City of Fort Collins citizens get impacted on their rates when it's really a developer, but maybe there's no development? And there's so many different arguments to be had all over the place. But it was a bombshell of a conversation. And I think Jenny Arndt wanted to explain, and I think she means it very well. And I agree with her. This is preliminary conversations. Like, how are we going to do this? Are we going to stack it, tier it in? But there are costs coming with the growth of Fort Collins and Northern Colorado, and it's going to be up to City Council and staff to navigate this. All right, let's get to a quick couple of questions. We are at 14 minutes, 30 seconds. Try to keep it to 15 minutes. Rental rates, sales, also construction versus demolition. So like I was just saying, permits are down substantially, but a lot of the permits that are going through are multifamily projects. Much of those are apartments, not for sale condos. In fact, one of the developments under review right now are the condos, I think, at the Red Tail Ponds. So we don't see a ton of condo developments coming through. We see some condo or some townhomes, but not a ton of condos. Rental rates are going through the roof. Less than around a 2% vacancy rate in Fort Collins right now, with rental rates increasing substantially, double digits. No doubt about it, because if we have 25% fewer buyers in the market because fewer applications, closed sales, they are still living here, wanting to be and they need a place to stay. So there's 25% more, you could say, renters than there would be in years past. And they're going through for a scarce commodity in itself as far as rentals go. So rental rates are increasing dramatically. I was just talking to my assistant. We had one single family that the family moved out and went from $2,100 to $2,500. So almost a 20% increase. Now, if it was a renewal, we would have absolutely taken care of our tenants and had a better renewal rate, but it wasn't. It was a new lease, and we have property taxes that we have to take care of, insurance rates that have increased, maintenance costs. You go to replace a water heater, it's not $1,200 anymore, it's $2,400. A furnace might have been $4,000 a year ago, now it's 2 years ago, now it's $8,000. So all these things are getting passed on to everybody. Lots of pressures. Incomes aren't keeping up, but they are increasing. I've mentioned it a few times. Poudre school districts are seeing for their teachers a 10% increase in pay. A lot of people are needing to take that into consideration to pay the additional cost of living. All that being said, it will be an interesting time. I'm definitely somebody who considers, I love the ingenuity of humans and like the lasers that are happening at Fort Collins. I mean, imagine if they really are able to come up with some type of endless energy source that we no longer need natural gas, or I read a book that was called Water Rights for the Non-Lawyer in Colorado. And they say that a drop of water touches like 27 hands before it gets to the ocean or before it's expired or whatever. Well, what if we're able to get 27 hands to 40 hands? And so instead of having a 0.3 acre feet needed to supply a household, we're able to do it with 0.1 acre feet, and we're able to expand that. So I know maybe that's a perpetual optimist in me, but I think that once it gets down to it and there's enough dollar signs behind it for somebody to invent, construct, engineer, things of that nature, we'll see it. And right now, with a triple the price, you might start to see people that are just pouring into how do you recycle water and decrease these demands and zero-scape lots and things of that nature. So my man, Mr. Dominic, I appreciate you watching, sir. But we are at the end of our night and time today. If you guys have any questions, definitely feel free to comment, engage. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your Wednesday night. We will see you next week. Have a great time. See ya. Bye.